Life is a series of good choices, making good decisions, all to be a functioning member of society. Leaving the house to go to work. Leaving the house to get groceries from the store. Leaving the house to socialize with friends and family. Leaving the house to exercise. Leaving the house to walk pets. Leaving the house to drive the car. Leaving the house to walk around. Leaving the house, leaving the house, leaving the house! I'm sick of it, I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. Ahem. In The Sims 3, because of the open world aspect, going outside is an important part of the game. But how long can a sim live and work without ever leaving their home lot? In this video, we'll not only be deciding if that is possible, but also which is the best method to do so. Starting with Crunch at Home Base. He's different from Crunch No Home because he has a home and he lives in it. Crunch at Home lives here in Sunset Valley with 0 simoleons because he's been cut off from his family for never leaving the house. But using his eccentricity and being a whiz on the computer, he'll pull himself up so he doesn't get lonely or feel the need to go outside. He is also equipped with the loner and hates the outdoors trait. I should have given him the night owl trait, but at this point I didn't have supernatural installed. I can't remember his last trait, it's couch potato. He has 0 simoleons, so how will he make money? Well, he already has the inventing station, which came with a little bit of scrap already. Gotta get started on making a few toys and widgets to make money. Don't want that repo man coming and taking our possessions. Before long, however, Crunch is out of scrap. But it's okay. He made a few bits and bobs from the limited scrap he had, and I sold them. Soon, it will be nighttime, and he can begin the real money making of hacking. But he didn't make enough money from hacking to get more scrap. So for a while, his routine became getting up, eating food, mooching around by watching TV or whatever, till it was time to start hacking. One evening, an alien came to the front door. Crunch invited her in, because this would be the perfect mate for this challenge. But she immediately left. We're trying to do something! Come back here! Soon, Crunch gained enough money to buy more scrap, so inventing could begin again. My plan with the inventing was to build a robot, and teach a robot how to love. But that would be a ways away. Let's get back to the now, which was still waking up, eating, now inventing, and hacking. Just that. On repeat. For days and days on end. The inventing skill takes a while to build up. So this version of this challenge was accidentally a year. For a man who was trapped inside by choice, he sure wanted to do a lot of activities, like visiting the fair and throwing a pool party. Occasionally when hacking, the government will catch you and break your computer. So in between inventing, which slowly brings up handiness, and having to repair the computer every night, Crunch actually had quite high handiness, even completing an achievement, so he never got electrocuted again. Setting on fire was a different story. I thought he was going to die and the challenge would end sooner than I thought. One of the inventions I was excited about was the time machine. Sims can try for a baby in the time machine, and a sim will pop out, either from the past or the future, a few days later. But Miss Blast, there's no other Sims on the lot, here with Lonely Crunch. Yes, I'm aware of it, I'm working on that. Usually, it's a grown man, so I would still have the family Crunch always dreamt of, but without the worry of school and grades. The only place to put the time machine was the bathroom. Crunch's first trip was successful, but any trip from then on was always cut short. I had a few theories on this. Either the game knows what we're up to and considers this cheating. More likely, the time travel adventures conflicts with his hates the outdoor and couch potato traits. But most likely, it's The Sims and its glitch. I consider the last to be the most likely. So I sold the time machine and built a new one, which then maxed out our inventing skill. Yay! I'd not played too much of the inventor skill, both back in the day and nowadays, so I did not realise that the robot was actually an opportunity. Plus, once that opportunity arose, rare items were required to build the robot. So I cheated and got the My Best Friend robot. It counted towards his lifetime aspiration anyway. As always, I hate these robots, and it slept on the living room floor in a sleeping bag. However, the robot was brave, so it could use the time machine regularly. During one of the time travel adventures, with Crunch of course, it was implied that he managed to save the Titanic somehow, and was now friends with a whole family that never existed. Now, like Crunch, I am very lazy, and getting to know new people takes time. So we invited the wife over to seduce her, and try for a time travel baby with her. The robot hated that, but I don't care about your feelings, robot. You're a robot, you don't have any. However, despite how many times we woohooed in the time machine, how many days we waited, no one popped out of the time machine, claiming Crunch was their long-lost relative. But this was the end of our accidental year of being trapped inside. This was a mildly successful way to live. Hacking is a great way to make money, and if I had researched more into the inventing, I would have known the robot was an opportunity rather than something you built and unlocked. I could have probably gone the Simbots route from Into the Future, however. But that was just living in a single house, which is easy with a single male living in a house, where food is just in the fridge if you have the money. What if we didn't have to rely on that, and grew all our own food, eating and selling it? Meet Nibble at Home, a hermit witch, living here in Hidden Springs. The same probably could have been achieved in Dragon Valley, but Hidden Springs is so green and I could not stop thinking about it. Using her eco-friendly and green thumb traits, she'll be growing all her own food in her back garden. However, she can leave her home, but not the lot, so she does not have hates the outdoors trait. Eco-friendly or frugal probably could have been changed to vegetarian, but these traits still worked with what we were trying to do this time. I originally made her a witch for aesthetic. What girlie hasn't dreamt of being a cottagecore witch in the forest? But being a witch meant she could summon apples, and then plant them to get a start in the garden. You could also transform these apples into other things, including other plantables. When they weren't bugs or fish, of course. I wish I'd given her a cat for companionship, but I didn't have pets installed this time. The plants were more than enough company for her though. This one, out of the 3, spoilers, there's 3 of these, was my favourite. In video games, I always want to go down the route of growing food, using those ingredients to cook food, with games like Skyrim or Project Zomboid. But I always lose interest, as it's quite difficult in those games. But it was so nice to actually follow through on this style of playthrough. Soon her garden grew and grew, from transforming apples into other things, and obtaining vegetables just through gardening. Very exciting. It wasn't the most profitable compared to the hacking last time, but it felt rewarding. The goal of this one wasn't a year, but to keep the crop sustainable, even in winter, and making money through potion making. We didn't have either, so that meant saving for both a potion station and planter bowls. A lot of apples transformed into fish, and at first I kept them, even when they died, thinking they contributed to the fishing collection, but they didn't, so I sold them to gain money needed for the items we needed. Fortunately, we were able to obtain both multiple planter bowls and the potion making station before the plants became dormant from the cold weather. Our life could remain sustainable throughout the colder months. This was a successful way of staying on the lot and surviving. There wasn't much point in doing a year, as it would simply be more of the same, tending to the now indoor garden and working on our magic skill, and making potions for money. But it was my favourite way. Let me know if you can think of any way to add to this, and maybe we'll visit Nibble or something similar once again. However, this was once again just a single sim living alone in solitude, away from prying eyes. What if multiple sims were forced to never leave their homes due to the unthinkable? Meet Crunch and Nibble at home! They've just begun their new life underground. Their job is to repopulate the earth. They live in Lucky Palms. Think like it's Fallout New Vegas, in this ugly vault I built for them. I don't really like building in The Sims 3, but I did my best. It is equipped with the basic necessity one would need to survive underground, including plants that I bought from Debug, because I didn't think that far ahead. This one is slightly different, because they are living in an underground vault where money is now obsolete. So making money isn't quite the focus. They just need it to pay the bills. Their first port of call: secure a stable source of food. Together they garden and eat. Finally, the vault's true goal was set in motion. Repopulation. Nibble confirmed she was pregnant a few days after the woohoo. And life was good down in the vault, collecting eggs from the chickens, harvesting the vegetables, and carrying out science experiments. Oh, she doesn't wear her vault suit when pregnant. So rude, I made that for you. Nibble wrote books for her future generations to learn of the world of the past, starting with her guide about bikes. Unfortunately, whilst writing this book, the baby was coming. But the vault failed to have a doctor or any medical facility, so the baby had to be born at home after many painful hours of labour. The baby's name is Gadget. She was a genius, an unplanned goal of this vault, but I've decided to raise a vault of geniuses, and like her parents, she hated the outdoors. Gadget lived in safety, underground, learning the basics of life, walking, talking, and potty training. She learnt it all quickly from the care of her parents and aged up well into a child, surrounded by safety, love, and steel walls. This is where things got tricky. I imagine there were some homeschooling mods I could have used to make this easier, but I don't have them. So there was no way for Gadget to go to school, as we're not leaving the house. So every day when it was time for her to go to school, Nibble would come yell at her for not going. Fortunately, in The Sims 3, the social worker won't take children away, so all that suffered was her grade and what trait we got to choose. To keep her mind sharp and act like she was going to school, I had Gadget study logic and read books. Soon, the second baby was born into the vault, Gizmo. She was good and also hated the outdoors. She too was raised safely and in the love of the vault. She quickly learned the same necessary life skills as her sister. Soon, she too was a child, and also now a genius, as we are now raising a generation of geniuses underground. Despite her difficulties living underground and being unable to attend school, I aged Gadget up into a teen.
I'm looking for my mama.
Where she remained learning logical skills from both the chess table and the telescope. Not sure what the telescope is looking at, I guess the ceiling. she taught these skills to her sister, who was now in charge of the chickens. And Nibble was pregnant once again. The cycle would continue as long as the vault was sealed. This idea was much more themed than the others, but it was also a lot of fun. This probably could have been combined with a number of elements from like the first one, like hacking and maybe bot building. But I was trying to make each idea unique. I have an idea for this, of a 100 baby challenge in The Sims 4. So let me know if you'd like to see me do that one day. I have the vault sort of built. Originally, this challenge was just going to be the first idea, hacking and inventing. But that idea was just very samey. A lot of the same things going on day in, day out. I didn't think it'd be very long, nor interesting. So I got to thinking, and I kept coming up with ideas. So I decided to combine them to make 3 scenarios. Rather than watching one sim putter around for many days, you watched 3 sims putter around for many days. Let me know if you have any more ideas of keeping poor sims trapped at home. And maybe we'll see a sequel to this video in the future. Don't forget, if you're new, to like and subscribe, as liking videos brings up my serotonin for when I, too, am trapped at home. But for now, I'm at Warhammer World!